following broadcast is a production of HCC TV.
Hi, I'm Justin Boyd.
Hi, I'm George Luna.
I'm Brittany Pacheco.
And I'm back from the flu.
And we are
The
Watchers in the Basement.
Welcome to the Watchers in the Basement. We are actually welcome back for us. We took a little hiatus. We're off for a week, but we're back to wrap up Game of Thrones. We're going to talk about season 8 and the whole series as a whole. Before we get to that, I'd like to thank everyone who's watched the show, whether it be on TV or on our YouTube channel or listen to us on SoundCloud. We appreciate everyone who's followed us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search for the Watchers in the Basement. And the best way to reach us is hit us up on a social media. Use hashtag WatchersBasement. So please do that. Let us know what you think about this show. We're going to throw out a bunch of theories. We're going to try to fix season 8 right now, if possible. And we'd like to hear what you have to say about it. So let us know. Okay, guys, so let's get to it.
Well, first of all,
Yeah, you start off.
we're making the 8 with this episode. It might not be our official 8th episode overall, but it is the 8th episode in regards to Game of Thrones. I just wanted to say
Season
we're
8
making the
also,
8.
yeah.
Season 8,
Yeah.
we're making the 8. Oh, yeah. No, but let's start off with talking about things that were not addressed in this season.
Yeah.
There was so much buildup that led to this season, and we were just totally let down. I think we kind of established that. First topic being prophecies. The Azor Ahai, Cersei's. And the next thing on the list is Arya's kill list, which is not really a prophecy, but the fact that there was a lot of buildup with that too. So let's start first with the Azor Ahai.
Yeah, the Azor Ahai, or as I call it, AA. They didn't. It's crazy because they kind of talk about it in season 7 when Melisandre shows up at Dragonstone and she's talking to Daenerys and her Queen's Guard, talking about how the prince that was promised, aka Azor Ahai, is not just uniform to male, but it could mean female. It could mean female as well.
Right.
I think Mrs. Sunday actually brought it to Daenerys' attention. And that's the last we hear of it from season 7. The show did a great job of talking about it the first couple of seasons about with the Red Bleeding Star in season 2 and season 3, and season 7. But other than that, there's no closure to that, and there's no wrap up. And I would have thought there would have been more of a connection between the Azor Ahai prophecy and the end of the White Walkers. That was in the 90-minute episode that we saw in The Long Night, and that was not brought up not one time.
Right.
So it was kind of like Azor Ahai, Azor Ahai. Very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
That was good.
But the first time we did hear more or less about the Azor Ahai, not by that actual name, was like in season 2 or 3 when we first see Melisandre, and she pledged her allegiance to Stannis because he originally was going to be the prince that was promised. And I'm saying this only because I'm rewatching seasons 3 and 4 right now. Don't ask me why I'm rewatching.
You're a brave soul.
I know, but you know,
That was good, though. Those were good
those
seasons.
were good seasons.
Yeah.
But
She knows the ending.
well, it doesn't
We're
change.
going to fix the ending, though.
Okay.
We're going to save
right.
everyone.
But in those seasons, I think it's in season 4, after, I'm spacing out on his name, Davos learns how to read. He receives this letter from, I forgot who he received, but it's basically talking about the death is marching on the wall. And Melisandre throws that piece of paper into the fire, and she, interprets everything. And she says,
It was a moment.
Mormont, thank you.
Yeah,
Okay,
Gior.
right. So basically saying that this war between 5 kings means nothing. The real war is the Great War, which we will see in season 8. And then ultimately, again, we were kind of let down because supposedly Stannis was going to play a role in this. Obviously, that was wrong. It really should have been Jon that had the biggest part in this whole prophecy.
Well, the
But-
show does a great job of early on in the series, it did a great job of setting up these heroes only to give you the okie doke. Like it set up Ned to be like the savior of King's Landing, and then he gets beheaded, and then it sets up Robb Stark as the heir, as the vehicle, as the hero to to save the North, only for him to get murked along with his mother and bride in season 3, and then it goes from that to Stannis possibly going up north and taking the North back from Ramsay and what's his daddy's name? Can't remember. His name
Bruce.
There you go, Bruce Bolton, and bringing Jon to the fold and making and legitimizing Jon. So the show does a great job of setting up these heroes and creating a story arc. But then after Jon, it kind of like we find out that Jon is like the Song of Ice and Fire, only to not complete his story. And
We'll get to that in a little bit.
And
but
it just I don't know. It's just
And Danny was a hero too.
yeah. So
One of them
it's
too,
Danny as well. So they do a great job of like creating a claim for each person, how this person can be the savior, this person can be the savior, this person can be the savior.
Right.
But it just there was no closure.
There's not closure in a lot of this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand why they introduce all these prophecies or theories or whatever that's going to happen if it's not going to lead to anything.
Yeah.
Like, why introduce it in the first place? Like, Azor Ahai, it didn't go anywhere.
Right.
No.
Cersei's prophecy or whatever, that didn't go anywhere
That'll go
either.
anywhere. Do you actually want to talk a little bit about Cersei's prophecy, like what that prophecy is?
So the prophecy was that she was going to have 3 kids, right? And then it was also told that she was going to lose one, right? The brown-haired one. That was
No.
that one
No.
was in there.
No,
Was that one in
all of
there?
them are gonna die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All her
3
children
will
will
die.
die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Golden crowns and what was it?
Golden
Golden
shrouds.
Yeah.
But they didn't mention the one with the one that she had lost before.
Well, so I don't think that's actually
'Cause
part
I
of that
thought-
prophecy
okay.
because that prophecy also entails that she wanted to know how many kids she was gonna have with the king, and she said with the king none.
Oh, okay.
He was gonna have all his bastards, but she was gonna have her children.
That's what I understood then. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, from that. Anyways, from that, and it came true, and then
She had her 3 kids, her
3
golden-haired
kids,
children.
and they all died. So
Right.
And then you have the last part that she was gonna be killed by.
The younger brother,
Valakar.
the Valakar.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
That did
They
not.
died together, but
Yeah.
he didn't kill her.
Right,
Yeah.
Tyrion, you can't even say the fact that Tyrion killed her because it wasn't his fault.
right.
Yeah.
So
He was trying to save him even still.
yeah, I just don't like that they introduce some of these things and it goes nowhere. Like,
Right.
and there's a whole bunch of more stuff like
Yeah.
the faceless assassin training. Like that was pointless too. There was no point.
At least for this season with
yeah,
Arya.
like towards the end, but for her training to like make such a big deal out of it, and
It's
they
2
don't use
seasons.
it, and they don't use it. Yeah, and they don't
Seasons
use
worth of
it.
training.
And all this stuff was like really cool, and it sounded like good ideas. It's just I guess they kind of ran out of time.
Yeah.
They made it to where they ran out of time. Like honestly, they had
They
all the
did
time
it to
in the world.
themselves,
I know
yeah.
exactly.
They did it to
yeah.
themselves.
So to that point, I do want to just throw in here because you all know I've been saying this forever. How really Game of Thrones should have ended would have been we would have gone to 10 seasons, okay?
10 episode seasons?
10 episode
Okay.
seasons, okay? Season 7, season 8 would have been that whole development of, okay, what are we going to do with the long night that's coming? You know, the Night King. Hopefully we would learn more about it, right? Season 9 would have been the aftermath of that battle with the Long Night. But now we're focusing on Cersei and King's Landing and what's going on there, right? And ultimately, let's say she's defeated at the end of season 9, kind of similar to what happened with season 7. And then season 10 would have been Dany's reign, quote unquote, but then her downfall as well. That's how I think it should have happened. But you know, we'll jump into how we would have fixed season 8 particularly. But I do want to say I agree with you that they rushed everything. They ran out of time. But I think had they taken that opportunity to develop the storylines over a course of a total of 10 seasons.
I think they just wanted to get it over with.
Yes.
Like
Well, they have Star Wars to work
Yeah,
on.
they have
Yes.
They just wanted to finish
So they
this.
can
like-
make really bad Star Wars movies.
Yeah. But, that-
Cool.
but
Can't wait.
That's gonna hurt.
But to go back to the Azor Ahai storyline, 2 characters like arcs surrounding that Azor Ahai storyline. That was Melisandre and Barry Dondarrion. Their whole character arcs were all about living up to this Azor Ahai prophecy and finding this hero to live through the story.
Right.
Melisandre's whole identity was, Stannis is Azor Ahai. He's the prince I was promised to end that long night. Oh no, I was wrong. It's Jon's Azor Ahai. He's the prince I was promised to end the long night. And then like they kind of go away from that, and then
She goes to
Melisandre's
Daenerys.
character, and then she goes to Daenerys. So Melisandre's like arc was kind of like thrown into disarray when that storyline was abandoned.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was almost like she
was
didn't
just
even
there.
know what she was doing.
No, she was a
anymore.
useless Christmas ornament from season 7 on.
Well, she was gone for a good part of season 7 too.
No, she was. I know she was pregnant. The actress
In
was
real life,
pregnant.
yeah.
But when they brought her back, she literally came back
One episode.
for one episode for like a 10-minute span. 10-minute span.
Right.
It's just like you essentially threw away a character and her character arc because you didn't want to close up a storyline.
One thing, because you're making me think about her exchange with Varys before she departed Atlantis. She says that she needs to die in a strange country, just like he does.
Yes.
Which he does. But then that also makes me think even further back when they were Marine and the other red woman, Kinvara, addresses Varys and says, "Do you want me to tell you what you heard in the flames?" And that kind of was like a dangling, like, "Oh, here you go." I want to know what happened with that. Like, what did he hear in the flames when his parts
Daenerys
were...
gonna be crazy.
Oh my God.
Kill
We'll
her
never
now.
see Kinvara again. Like
I know.
she's supposed to play this
Big
huge
role,
part.
too.
Like she's supposed to be like the representative of the red priest and Essos, but we never see her again. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like
That was the other thing.
what happened with that?
Right. So let's keep on going. We mentioned about the faceless training. You're right. There was 2
I mean, it was
seasons worth of
cool. It would have been
development.
cool if it led somewhere, but it was pointless. Again, there was nothing to do with it.
We're going
Like,
to talk about how we would fix that in
Yeah.
season 8. Jamie's character arc obviously is another.
garbage.
That's another big issue. You know, you go from being probably one of the most hated characters in the beginning to someone that you can kind of sympathize with in a way, and then it's like, oh nope, we're back to hating him again. Like,
Jamie's character arc reminds me of like you have a construction site and it's this crazy sinkhole, and it's a terrible sinkhole. No one wants to get around anywhere around it, but you find a way. You find sand, you find soil, you cover that sinkhole, you build a beautiful building on top of that sinkhole, on top of the foundation, great foundation. It's a nice 15-story building. And then 8 years later, you just demolish it and just destroy it and it's just rubble.
Yes.
That's Jamie Lannister's story arc. It was you build a beautiful semblance of a building only to destroy it 8 years later.
and it also, it's kind of like, what message is it that the writers are trying to convey? Is it that people can change from their ways, and then you see that change, and then it's like, oh no, you really can never change who you really are? What kind of message is that sending? I don't know. That bothers me.
But they could have done it differently. Like at least like if he's gonna do that, like well, we're gonna talk about it when
Right.
we go on to it. But yeah, they could have done it completely differently.
They really could have. The other thing they could have done completely different was Jon Snow, Aegon Targaryen.
Pointless too.
What point did that serve for anything? Nothing, it seems. But we're gonna fix that when we fix this whole season. The Night King and Jon Snow. Again, Jon was, I saw the Night King. I looked into his eyes, you know, just over and over and over and over again. And when he did encounter that Night King, George, you were very disappointed with that.
It's like a tease. They teased us this whole season. Like
The Night King essentially ran away.
Yeah.
Like he raised the day and walked away.
Yes.
Like so since Hardhome, 5 seasons going into that. I mean, 3 seasons going into that one scene, you walk away. Like
Yeah.
that's
no,
Yeah.
ruined.
yeah. And then like you brought up a good point about having 10 episode, 10 seasons, right? And how you story build season 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Right.
Somewhere in there, you got to give it a Night King origin story of
Yeah.
like why he's
Yeah,
doing
Sure,
that's
yeah,
what she meant.
that's
She's
what I
like
mean. With
season
7 and
8
8,
would have been
Yeah.
Exactly.
between that.
Yeah.
That would have been
Okay.
that
And then it
whole
wraps it up,
development.
and then you go.
Okay.
Right.
Because that bothered me. Like I didn't know his motivation, why he did what he did.
Right.
We assumed that the guy that got the crystal shoved into his chest was the Night King, but they never
We
really
don't know.
say it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That's true.
We don't know
Well-
anything about his motivation.
The prequel is, I believe, beginning production either this month or next month.
They
Blood
already started
Vow.
shooting.
Yeah,
They're
already
shooting.
started.
So hopefully we'll get a little bit more information about that, because let's remember, the Night King was actually created for the show. The Night King, and you've read the books.
Yeah.
The Night King does not exist in the
Yeah.
books.
Yeah.
The others do,
Yeah.
but not the Night King itself. So,
Yeah.
but still, again, why introduce that character if you're not going to give any background origin story? So,
Did they already know they were gonna make the show and
oh, I'm sure they did.
the one before?
I'm sure they did. Because when the showrunners met with George R.R. Martin, they met between season 3 and 4 about the ending and what is the actual ending. So they have to plan this all well in advance. So I'm sure these prequels have.
But it's okay. Just ruin the White Walker story arc, everything. It's fine. We're gonna make another show about it. You don't have to worry about it.
Right.
We'll ruin it.
The other thing here is the Three-Eyed Raven's purpose. We got that. Oh, I'm the Three-Eyed Raven. I'm the Three-Eyed Raven. Okay, you mentioned it, Justin, in our last episode about how Bran was gone for a whole season.
All season 5, yeah.
And granted he grew, but all that training or all whatever it was that he was learning for naught,
Yeah.
basically, right?
We don't know his powers. We don't know. I mean, can he live forever? How long is he gonna like? I don't know. I don't know anything about him really.
But it makes me wonder, since now that we find out that Bran knew this was all going to happen in the first place, when did his powers manifest? Did he know, like when he was training with Brendan Rivers, the Three-Eyed Raven, was he already in full manifestation of his powers, and he let Brendan Rivers and he let Summer and Hodor die just for nothing?
Yeah, because you don't know how far back. Like,
Yeah,
they
we
could
don't know how far back are his powers fully manifested.
Right. No,
And
that's a good point.
And if his powers fully manifested by the time he was halfway through training, and he let Brendan Rivers die and George and those people die, you are a true jerk.
It didn't seem like it though, because he was still like I don't want to say time traveling. You know what he was doing.
Yeah.
But when he was going back in time and doing that, he was still with him. So
Yeah.
I don't think he was capable of doing that, at least yet. Because he still, when that happened, he was still with him when he died.
You're right, but the reason I question that, because now we see this rough time, this vicious time of Hodor becoming Hodor.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder, like, did Bran really know his powers full out? Because we see how he became Hodor.
But he was still surprised at it after he did it. He's like, that's why he's Hodor.
He's been surprised.
Would he be surprised or just he looked more pained by it? Like, oh, I'm the
Like,
reason.
yeah.
this
I'm
is
living through this
happening.
again.
Exactly.
Like, I'm doing this again.
I agree with that.
So what do you mean again?
Because
It's
that-
like a time loop.
It's a time loop.
It's happening all over again. We the viewers are
Yeah.
watching it for the very first time, but
Yeah.
Bran is reliving this over and over and over.
I
again.
don't
I think
think-
it was
I don't-
meant for us. Like he was discovering it just like we were.
Yeah,
He was
'cause-
seeing it for the first time. The first time he
in
sees
this time.
In this time loop. That's what we're saying. In
We're
this
going
time loop, yes.
Timelines. Nope.
But
This is a Avengers all over again.
No.
But like, no, like,
Not as
Please
good.
no.
Not as good as Adventure.
yeah. But there's clues that say that all these brands are connected. All these Brandon stocks are connected.
Right.
And that brand has seen this before, and it's just a time loop of itself. So it makes me wonder that did Brand see this coming, and he just decided to step back and let it happen again.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know
And
about
if
that
if that's the truth, and if he did know this,
Then
then
he's a
he's a
huge-
bigger jerk than
He's the
than-
biggest villain.
Yeah,
He is
he's
the
he's
biggest
the biggest
villain,
villain.
Well,
Look at all these
even
people
now,
die.
like he's
Yeah,
he's still
he definitely
one of the
is.
biggest villains. Like
Yeah.
Like whenever you go back and watch episode 1 of Game of Thrones, you should root for Jamie to kill the kid.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
No.
No, did you see that meme about how Kingslayer was like ahead of his game? He was
Oh.
already killing the future king. But anyway.
yeah.
The other hint that I really want to quickly talk about, and we'll move on to how we would fix season 8, is the hints of children. Jorah and John both talking to, Jorah to John and then John to Dany. There was this hint of, Dany maybe can have children, and Tyrion was also very concerned about her line of succession should she die. And when John was trying to give Longclaw back to Jorah said, no, this will serve you and your children. So why even hint at the ideas that maybe John is going to have children? Let's say just specifically John having children, and then ultimately that doesn't happen. It goes back to the lazy writing that we've all agree on, the very rushed seasons, and then just we're not going to tie up these loose
Yeah,
ends.
they did not have time.
They didn't have time.
They didn't have time to give Dany 9 months to become pregnant and have a baby.
Right. Well, let's move on to how we would fix season 8. Let's begin
Here we
with
go.
episode 3, because Justin, you had said, and I think we all agree.
I think episode 1 and 2 were really good. We all liked them.
Yeah.
Episode 1, basically, Danny and John go to Winterfell, and you have a lot of reunions in that episode. Episode 2, they're all preparing for the upcoming the
Battle.
long night, the Battle of Winterfell. And I think at that point, season 8 was off to a really good start. I know we were
Yes.
all still excited about it.
I was still fine about it.
Yep.
Episode 3, the long night, which we kept hearing how is this epic battle. It's going to be better than the Helm's Deep battle that was in Lord
Well,
of the Rings.
it's the longest.
It's longer than that.
in television history.
So we get to this battle, and it's a solid episode by itself. The way they did it, it's solid. But it's so dark. Everyone complained about how you had to turn the brightness levels up on your TV. You can't
It
see
still
it very
wasn't good
well.
enough.
Yeah.
And to me, like whenever you make it that dark, you're obviously trying to hide the fact that you don't have enough content, enough storyline to show people. So instead of showing
The
them, you're gonna hide it.
Yeah.
So okay, that's fine.
And I agree with that because the Battle of Blackwater and the Battle at the Wall in season 4, those wars happen at night. You can see everything with no problems.
Exactly.
No issue.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's a good point. It's
So
just
the
you
first thing
mentioned.
to fix, just don't make it so dark. Show us what you're going to show us, and if you can't show us something, then don't show it. But like, if you're going to put something on screen, make it where it's visible. That's the medium of television, video.
I think that also kind of goes into this next point about the Dothraki deaths because their swords were lit.
They're
courtesy-
obliterated.
And they're obliterated.
There's like
exactly.
7 of them left, and then the next episode there's like 7,000, and then the next episode is like 7 million. Like they're going to take over the world. It's just like
They're gremlins, you
Yeah,
said.
yeah.
They're gremlins.
They make it assume like all of them were just wiped out, and that
Yes.
wasn't the truth. Or that wasn't the case apparently,
Right.
because they keep, like you said, they're gremlins. They keep become like they spawn.
regenerate or
Yeah.
whatever.
Regenerate.
And the battle plans is just, and we talked about this throughout this season. The battle plans have just been so atrocious from these from all these veterans from Jorah and Barry Dondarrion
Yep.
and John. John's been in 2 or 3 wars now. It's just
You
like
would think they'd be a little
you
bit
think they'd be
smarter, strategic.
Yeah, like let's let these swords in charge of something that we can't see.
I'm like, well, that's not our men. They'll be okay.
So I think what we're saying is with Dothraki, if you're going to kill Dothraki, let them die. Like
Yeah.
that's
Kill 'em.
fine. It's a good ending for their characters to have them die against what we thought was the ultimate bad guy,
Yeah.
being the Night King and the White Walkers.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
it was this unbeatable force we were told forever that not the Knights come,
Long
the dead are coming and everyone's going to die, and it's this long night. Which was it even that long of a night? Like
It's 90 minutes long.
Yeah, I mean the episode like it wasn't like you didn't even feel like you're like the Battle of the Bastards. Like it feels like a long battle. You're from John's perspective, you have people all over him, and he like it just feels like. And then later on in the morning was when he actually gets to kill Ramsay. It
Yeah.
feels like a long time. Whereas the long night was. It's like you wake up like at 4:30 or something, and like you're getting ready for work or whatever, and then it's 7 o'clock, and you're like, oh, that went by pretty fast. Like it was like that. It really was.
Yeah.
But you know what's crazy? Like you saw a better build up between Ramsay and John, in like in a two episode gap than you
Than
saw
the Night
with
King with
the Night
John.
King and John in a
Yes.
2-season gap.
Yeah.
Like the morning was it the morning before the actual battle when John and John and Ramsay met with Sansa and then
Yeah.
that dialogue was emotional. It was invigorating. It was
Yeah.
good.
It's weird whenever you let actors act. Instead of just like going, well, yada yada, we're moving on to the next thing.
And there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
Because you know what they did really well with this show? They casted really well.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
I mean, everybody on the show was awesome, except for maybe the guy who becomes the king. And maybe he's actually a good actor, but he wasn't given much to work with in the show.
He's also the stunt coordinator for the show.
I'm talking about
He's talking about Bran.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, you said the king. I thought you meant
no,
the Night King. My
was
bad.
fine. I think he did a fine job.
Yep.
But like,
Yeah.
I think like all the other actors were really solid. Let them act.
Yeah.
You're right. That scene you mentioned. Those are 2 people making that work.
Exactly.
If you just skip that over, that's not as good.
It's not as
it doesn't mean
emotional.
as much.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
like if he doesn't say to him like, "I can't wait to see your sister," or "I'm good to see your sister again," or whatever. She's gonna be back in my kitchen or back in my house or
Yeah.
whatever. Like whatever he said.
Donuts.
Donuts.
Without that part, it just doesn't mean as much.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you still want John to win, but it's I don't know. It's storytelling. Like,
So I'm going to cut you off right there because
Yeah.
you're going to keep going. The 2 people that should have made it work because John is a fierce soldier, if you will, warrior, whatever, and then the Night King. That buildup was coming.
yeah.
And it was a letdown.
And it was a letdown.
Should have happened. That's
Shoulda
how
happened.
it could have been fixed for this season. I think and we all agree on that.
So how would you have wanted this Night King versus a John?
I think
John
we all
to
agreed
play out?
if they just actually fought and then like John's about to beat him and he's like, all right, wait a minute, nope.
He,
He's
the
like,
Night King.
Then
Raises the dead,
the Night King
yeah.
raises the dead and then goes on and tries
go
to
kill Bran,
Get
yeah.
Bran.
I would have been cool with that,
Yeah.
or I would have been cool with as John is approaching the Night King, he raises the dead. John's just mowing him down. He's mowing him down as he gets
Yeah.
the Night King, and then they fight, and then as Night King's about to murk John, Arya saves him. I would have
Yep.
been cool with any figuration
Right.
of that. But I just wanted to see them fight.
Yeah.
Because the only battle that they really were engaged in was in the air, in the darkness, on dragons,
And
where
that
you
doesn't
could
count to
not
me.
tell what was going on. I mean,
Yeah.
you just
That doesn't
couldn't.
count.
I couldn't tell.
I was rooting for the Night King on accident. I was
Yeah.
like, oh wait, that wasn't John.
Get in. Oh, okay. Well, whatever.
And I'm glad you mentioned about Arya because we didn't get that explanation of how she vaulted to
Right.
to stab the Night
That's
King.
the one thing that bugged me most.
When we, Justin, you and I watched the Last Watch
Last Watch,
documentary
yeah.
about the final season of Game of Thrones, during the table read for this particular episode, the producer, whoever's reading out, saying that Arya vaults off a pile of dead whites,
Okay.
and that's how she goes and,
Okay.
and flies in.
Then show it.
Show exactly.
Show it.
Exactly. Show us.
But
Like, yeah.
but I like Frank what you said about the Night King versus Jon, and then Jon looks like he's about to meet his end, and then Arya comes in and saves him
Yeah.
or something.
That'd
like
be
that.
cool.
That would have been
I
great.
would've been cool with
That would've
that.
been great.
Look, I don't even care about this one because I would have been fine with Arya killing, but show me how they did it.
Yeah.
At least okay, change the camera angle or where
You actually see her
like
walking
yeah,
or
like
creeping
sneaking up,
up.
or she was on a tree or what.
Yeah.
Well, now
There's one
it wasn't
thing
a tree.
of like coming out of nowhere. I understand that, but like you take
You
it
don't
too
fly.
far.
Yeah.
It's like the unlikely guy, like the unlikely hero in a sports movie or something. It's never somebody from another sport. Where, like it's never some guy in a hockey mask that's like, I'll take the game-winning shot in the Final Four, and it's like, dude, this is basketball. Like, yes, I didn't expect this, but like, this is insane. You know what I mean? Like that's what they did. Like, we thought she was gonna die, and then all of a sudden she comes flying out like Superman or something. Like,
Yeah.
it.
No, you're completely right.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Yeah.
the last thing I think we could have done to fix this episode is to just show a different angle, show
so glad
us
you're back for
or
us.
something like that.
Yeah, so let's move on to episode 4, which is Last of the Starks. So in our world, in our storyline, we had the Night King face off with Jon. Jon seemingly gets the better of him. The Night King realizes this. He raises the dead. Jon has to fight the White Walkers. The Night King goes on to try to kill Bran. And as he's killing Bran, Arya makes the save, but we see how she gets
that
there.
happens.
We see her kill people, or we see her jump on the backs of the dead people that
Yeah,
Theon
like
and
a
his
cool
crew.
montage of
Right.
like her running or like
Exactly,
something.
because Theon's group, they did kill people.
Yeah.
They
They
killed
did.
something.
They did. They
Because
killed a lot of
Theon
people, yeah.
was a pretty good warrior like that
Yeah.
at that moment. Like he was by himself for a long time, just shooting arrows and fighting, and then he,
Yeah.
Bran just like lets him like sacrifice himself for no reason. Like,
Yeah.
that's-
You're a good man. Go die for me.
yeah, yeah. You're a good man. You have 7 more seconds on screen. Like, like that's basically what it was. So now we're moving on to the Last of the Starks, episode 4. And the big part of this episode, again, they didn't show us. Like, Jon, like, he's gonna tell his sisters his secret. He actually has Bran do it, but they don't show it to us.
No.
We need to see their reactions. We need to see Macy Williams and Sophie
important.
Turner and Kit Harington and these people act. These are great actors who they cast for a reason. Let them do what they do.
You know what that reminds me of? This is the analogy I came up with of them just skipping over those key parts of like Jon telling Sansa and Arya and Sansa telling Tyrion. It's like watching the NBA Finals Game 7. And it's 94-94, 3 seconds left. Stephen Curry shoots a 3 to win the game. It just cuts off.
They cut it off,
They
yeah.
cut it off, and then it skips to the press
Right,
conference.
right.
Yeah, man, that three I hit, man, was we beat the Raptors. It was a crazy series. Like,
Yeah.
no, I want to
You
see
should
it.
have seen it.
You should have seen it, but hey, it was good though. Like,
They didn't
no.
show it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's a basketball player. I want to see him perform in the crucial moments. These are great actors. I want to see these actors perform in crucial moments of this series. And it's so disrespectful to us as viewers to gloss over such momental
That build-up.
acts. Yeah, and momental build-ups that makes the series.
Right.
It was very
It was
disrespectful.
a big deal. And
It
then
was
you
a really
treat it
big
like it was nothing.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Same thing with Sansa
And
telling Tyrion.
It was the same thing.
We need to see what she said.
Yeah.
Her tone, like obviously she was upset about it. She's trying to like not only is it like her brother is actually the king, but then she doesn't like Danny, so I would like to see what she told Terry.
Yeah.
Like
I
how
feel like
he
that one
reacted.
was important because that's what like led a lot of things to turn to that. Like 'cause
Yeah.
he told Denny in turn
Yeah.
told Varys, and then
Varys
everything
died for that reason. Yeah.
So that would have been a huge part that they should have shown
Huge.
that one.
Yeah.
And Peter Dinklage is a hell of an actor. He's a great actor. You took away a great moment that Peter Dinklage could have made into an Emmy worthy moment. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just
Well, they gave him the speech of the Dragon Pit.
The thing that bothers me is here's what bothers me. Season 8, the first 2 episodes were regular link episodes. They were like under an hour, right?
Yeah.
Much like what our show is. Okay, so but the remaining 4 were an hour and a half. So you had the extra time, and then all 4 of those episodes had problems, and the last 2 were terrible. So it's like the extra time didn't help them.
Right.
Not at
So
all.
you take away something like obviously the scenes we're talking about would have taken 5 minutes apiece probably for these actors to do this stuff. So use your time wisely toward that stuff and take away stuff that we didn't need to see.
Yeah.
Which was that dragon pit scene, which was just embarrassing. It's an embarrassing scene. Like,
Yeah.
It is. Well, let's talk about another dragon, Rhaegal's death. I think we'll talk a little bit more in our next episode, but I think we all agree that Rhaegal should not have died in this episode 4. He
Right.
should have either died during the battle at Winterfell or during the bells, and
Okay,
that
he
would have
should have
given the
died in the
momentum.
bells.
Right.
That would have given Dany the momentum to burn down King's Landing, but we'll get to that in just a second. But if Rhaegal was still going to be, or even Drogon, the burning of the Iron Fleet should have probably happened in this episode when Euron goes and kills Rhaegal.
I don't know how he survived.
I don't know how you survived that either. But we do agree that shouldn't have happened in this episode. And then finally, we do see that Jaime and Brienne have this finally they have this connection, and then Jaime's going to leave when he learns what Cersei is doing,
Right.
having taken Missandei as captive, etc. But instead of Jaime, so that his arc would have been, fully, I can't even think of the word because I'm
Come
so
full circle?
Thank you. Jaime should have said, Cersei is a hateful person. And instead of saying, so am I, he says, and I'm going to kill her, or I'm going to finish her.
I would have been fine with him saying, so am I. But I have to finish this, or I have to end this, or
That works
something
too,
like that.
yeah,
Like,
that works
only
too.
I can end.
Jaime should have been the one
No one
to-
knows her better, and no one knows
Right.
how much she has to.
Right.
She has to die, basically.
So moving onward to the bells. There's a few things in there. The one of the big parts.
This is episode 5.
This is episode 5, the bells. The Golden Company was brought into this season, and they absolutely had nothing to do with this season whatsoever.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be like, 20,000
20,000.
men, 2,000 horses. We only saw the one horse that Harry Strickland was on, by the way, and that horse, I think, died. But we should have at least seen a battle amongst the Jon and Dany's armies and the Golden Company. Yes?
Yeah.
Because I would have been totally okay with Drogon still coming up from behind and
Yeah.
like just burning all of the Golden Company, but at least actually have the Golden Company do something.
It was an 80s Tyson fight. Like how Danny did the Golden Company. It was like, why even show up? Like this is what you booked to fight against Danny in the 7 to 7,000 Dothraki in the Unsullied. Like, come on. This is
My whole point is why was it so easy for her to do it? If it was this easy, why didn't they do it before? And then she could have just went and handled Night King after that.
Right. She could have, in season 7.
When she had three
When she had 3
dragons.
dragons.
3 of them.
She could have gone to King's Landing. She didn't even have to destroy King's Landing. She could have just gone to the Red Keep, destroy the Red Keep. Fine. King's Landing would have been okay. But she would have had her dragons. Like that, whatever.
that's a bad writing though. It's like,
It's bad
oh,
writing.
I'm so angry because John doesn't want to give me none, and Mrs. Sunday got beheaded. So now I want to go ahead and just kill everybody. That's just like
kill
stop it. Like
Right.
you talk about for 7 years, this is your birthright. If this really meant that much to you, you would have just said, you know what? Screw all y'all advice. I'm gonna go ahead and just murk Cersei in this castle and just be done with it.
Yeah.
Right.
She should
not
have
have
done
to
that. They
worry
should have let
about
her
it.
do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
Then you can go help. Then you can do everything. But
Exactly.
whatever. That's a completely it would have changed everything. But
George, I want you to talk about Rhaegal dying.
okay,
in
because this is how I would have seen it. Like it would have made sense to me, and I wanted it to end like at least this way because it made more sense instead of Rhaegal dying like out of nowhere and randomly. Okay, so let's say everything's happening in the battle, right? She's winning. Everything's going great. I know in the show she destroys all the
Scorpions along the
scorpions, but say she missed one or something like that, and out of nowhere, like one of the Lannister soldiers, it doesn't have to be anyone important. It could be Euron
Aaron
if you
Rodgers.
wanted. That would have been good.
Yeah.
Aaron
So-
Rodgers.
Boom, my accuracy hit.
Yeah.
Something like that. Some quarterback-driven line.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. So say that.
QBR is off the charts. It really is.
Let George finish his
Oh
point.
my God.
We've got other points to talk about.
I'm sorry.
We're here talking about Aaron Rodgers. So while the bells are tolling, she already won. She thinks she has everything. Everything happens, and Rhaegar is next to her and Drogon, and you just see just out of nowhere the arrow just comes, hits her, hits Rhaegar, kills him.
Yeah.
Then she just snaps. She's just there. It's the same scene. She's standing there breathing like
Right.
All heavy,
all mad,
yeah.
and then she just starts burning
Lose their
everybody.
mind.
Yeah.
I would've
That
cool
would have been
that.
okay with.
That would have made sense to me.
Yes.
I think that's a better way for Rhaegar
I
to die,
agree
and
with
then
that.
like it would have made it like oh okay, at least they had 2 dragons and they put up a battle and like
Yeah.
it was easy,
That
but
would've
it
been
wasn't
great.
one dragon easy.
I have one addition to that. This is what I thought was going to happen, honestly. I thought whenever the bells, which is a symbol of we're giving up, if you hear,
Yeah.
hear the
Surrender.
bells, the Lannisters are giving up, right? I thought we'd hear the bells, right? And everybody's like, okay, it's over. That's when you see the scorpion or the arrow kill Rhaegar, right? But after the bells chime, wildfire. She starts blowing up the outer. Cersei had planned to explode
That
the
would've
outer
been-
parts
that
of
would've been
King's
cool.
Landing because that's where the Jon and
Yeah.
Everybody is.
yeah, all the million of Dothraki, they're all coming this way.
That would've been great.
That would have waited. You could have killed. You're killing people. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe that Cersei did nothing.
Then
She
both
just
of
like
them.
stood
That
there.
would have been
Stood
cool.
there
Like both of
drinking
them are
Right.
still.
Right. The dragon dies 1st. Danny watches him fall, and he falls to the ground, and then just everything around her is just exploding, and she
Yeah.
just like loses her mind and says, "You know what? I'm gonna burn. I'm burning it all.
Everybody.
I'm gonna burn it
Yeah.
down. Everyone dies now. Everyone dies.
That would have made more sense.
That would've been great.
Because we had this like kind of a war agreement of, well, okay, the bells are like the safe place. Once that's said, or once the bells go off, the fighting ends.
Yeah.
You broke that, and I'm gonna kill everybody.
See, that's so logical, and that's what makes me so mad about the storyline now, because like the way they set it up after Miss Sunday gets beheaded and Daenerys is not eating, and she's basically teetering between sanity and insanity. They open the storyline saying, well, if Jon didn't deny me, I wouldn't have went and killed these people. So I mean, that's ridiculous to me. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about this because I have been hardcore about this last thing, and it would have kind of fulfilled a couple of prophecies, Arya's kill list. What I wanted to have seen happen, the reason, because honestly, Arya being in King's Landing literally would, if she was there or if she was not there, it literally would not have changed anything that happened in that episode. But because she's here, let's go ahead and keep her. Let's actually put her faceless training to use, okay? What I would have been okay with Jaime and Euron still facing off one way or another, because we did see at one point Arya there with the Hound. The Hound tells her to turn away. He's gonna go kill his brother, fine. But when that's about to happen, Cersei's coming down the stairs. She encounters Jaime in that map room. But instead of it actually being Jaime, okay, Jaime would have already been there with Euron ahead of time before all this happened. They face off, what have you. Jaime and Euron die, okay, great, fine. Arya comes up to the Hound and with the Hound and sees all this. Okay, Hound's gonna go forward, do his thing. He tells Arya to go away, but you know what? She's got another plan in mind. She's gonna take Jaime's face because she's here to kill Cersei.
Right.
Okay?
Kill the queen. Kill
Come
the
kill the
queen.
queen. That number one on her list. Okay. She takes his face. Cersei comes down. She sees Jaime. They embrace. Oh my God! There's so much destruction, and then
Yeah.
kill her.
Yes.
Or strangle her.
Strangle her.
Yeah,
Thank you.
there you go.
Strangling would have been
Yeah.
better. We did talk about that.
Yeah.
And as Cersei's taking her last breath,
So
Arya reveals her true self and takes off Jaime's face.
So with her taking Jaime's face, what happened with the golden hand?
She still would have held on to the golden hand.
Oh, okay.
I mean, because think about it, when she was Walder Frey, she basically wore Walder Frey's clothing. She became Walder Frey and what have you. No one really knew
Yeah.
that she was.
That's just part of the magic, I guess.
It's part of that magic.
But that would have been cool if she didn't have the hand and Jaime had a full hand, and she's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
that's
by
even
That's
then,
when she notices.
That's even better.
yeah,
That's
it would have
even
been too
better.
late, and he would have
That's
he would have
awesome.
strangled her.
that
good.
would have
And
been
maybe
even
as
better.
she's
Like,
strangling,
wait, you're choking me with
maybe
that?
as she's strangling, she turns back to Arya.
Yeah.
And
Wait, she has to
that's-
review. She has to pull off. The
Oh,
face,
she has to
though.
pull- oh,
She has to
okay.
pull off the face.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. During Cersei's last breath,
That would've been
and she's
cool.
like,
Yeah.
why, and then
Right.
And then, like I said, multiple things would have happened.
that's what
Arya
she-
would have fulfilled her list.
Yeah.
The prophecy of Cersei would have,
Right.
been fulfilled, and then the faceless training would actually have been.
So maybe
of
what she
use.
does is she sticks up the left hand, which was the gold hand. Obviously, her hand is
Right
not
hand.
golden.
Right hand.
Puts it. Oh,
His-
you're right.
his
That's
right
right.
hand.
You're right. He's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holds Cersei, pulls the mask off, reveres Arya.
There you go.
Finishes the
Exactly.
job.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how I would have ended
Yep.
the bells. There's no use of the horse.
We agree.
We're gonna move on to the Iron Throne, the
agree,
final
yeah.
episode of season 8. I think that I was kind of okay with how everything happened in the beginning up until Dany's death.
Yep.
There's that cutaway. We don't know, how everyone found out about her death because Drogon flies away. But let's just change that. Let's say that before any of that happens, Grey Worm runs into the throne room because he's heard the heard Drogon, roar and all that good stuff and melt the Iron Throne. Sees the Iron Throne is melted. Sees Dany's lifeless body on the ground, and then Grey Worm's gonna come after Jon. So there's really no need for like a confession. He just puts 2 and 2 together.
I don't know about this one because the only reason I say that is because if Grey Worm sees that, he's gonna kill him. He's not.
That's fair.
Because it makes sense for Jon to turn himself into me. Like, but I want to see that. Like,
Right.
Because he's such a noble person. He's
That's
like,
true. That's
like he was raised by his,
Because he
by
could
head.
give like an epic speech about why he did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I
That's
was just annoyed
More
about
great
how
acting. That
Yeah.
would have been cool.
Yeah. Absolutely.
it bothered me about how blindly John did not learn anything from Ned's downfall. Like after Daenerys murdered all these people and murdered all these children and mothers and innocent
Everybody.
victims, and then like he still needs to be reason. Tyrion still needs to talk to him in episode 7. Like, hey,
Yeah.
what happened was wrong. Like this is not right. And
Yeah.
for him to still be like, oh, she's my queen. Like, dude, really? Like,
Yeah.
she murdered all these people and you're still defending
still
her?
defending
That frustrated me the most.
Yeah. Well, either way, I think if Grey Worm walked in, it does make sense that he would go after Jon next.
Yeah,
But
'cause-
either way, there needs to be something that shows that connection of she's dead, Jon did it, he confesses, that's why he's a
Yeah.
prisoner.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Dragon Pit. Okay, let's say we'll keep the Dragon Pit. Tyrion doesn't make his speech. Let's just cut that out altogether. The High Lords are the same lords that Varys had been writing to
He contacted them.
exactly in whatever episode it was that he died.
They know Jon is actually the true
Exactly.
heir to the throne.
And they're asking for him. So they bring out Jon. Jon makes like this wonderful speech that he did in memorializing those that died in Winterfell, and they want him to be king, and he keeps saying, "I don't want to be king. I don't want to be king." But let's go ahead and divide the 7 kingdoms, because if I don't want to be king, let's not have a king.
Right.
Let the 7 kingdoms have their own domain. There still be wardens.
Yeah.
The North could be ran by Sansa. I'm totally supportive of that. I think that's
Yeah.
great.
The 7 rulers of the realm. That's trademarked by
Boom.
me. Nice.
Boom. Good
And
job,
that-
Justin.
And that would have been that would have been a callback. I mean, to the books it's still, but like before Aegon's landing in 300 years ago, the kings were all ran separately. So to have Aegon's descendants basically undo everything that Aegon did, that would have been the essential breaking the wheel.
Because then there was a purpose of making Jon Snow Aegon Targaryen.
Yes.
Which leads me to my next point, that Jon divides the 7 kingdoms. They can all decide who their rulers are going to be, fine. But he will ultimately say, I am going to abdicate from the throne entirely. I'm going to go north.
Yep.
And
been so dope.
that would have been
Yeah.
End scene.
end scene.
Perfect.
End
Perfect.
scene.
Perfect.
Like Aegon's great grandson basically saying, you know what,
I'm done.
I'm done.
I'm done.
It shouldn't be like this anymore.
Because after all, the whole show was about him. He was
Yep.
the main character. And the problem
Yep.
with season 8 and even season 7 partially, he's like a side character.
he's
Yeah.
a featured character.
Yeah, he's not. It's like A Song of Ice and Fire is literally about him. He is
Yes.
both ice and fire.
Yes.
Like, I don't know
Hell,
how
even
they-
if it was a story of just Jon and Dany in general,
Right.
Ice and Fire.
Exactly. There you go.
The whole point of this is that the characters needed to have developed. We needed to see that the storyline develop, and so that's how we would have ended. How we would have fixed season 8 of Game
So
of
let
Thrones.
us know what you think about that ending. If you have a better ending, we'd like to hear
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Please.
Hashtag Watchers
I wanna hear.
Basement.
Yeah, please share it with us. Okay, so guys, so it's over. This series is over, unfortunately. Well,
Let's talk about something
fortunately.
fun.
Yeah, let's talk about something. Let's talk about the best of Game of Thrones,
Yes.
right? What are some of your what are your 3 favorite moments, Frank? We'll just go down the table
Man,
from the series, not season 8, from the series.
series.
The whole entire series.
the ascension,
5 minutes.
the ascension and fall of Oberyn Martell. He was my favorite character in the series.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love Oberyn Martell. I love how bad Ed he was, and how he didn't care about anything. Like he didn't care about the political aspects of the Seven Kingdoms. All he cared about was living his life the best way he could, and doing what he wanted to do. And that storyline of him wanting revenge of his sister getting killed by the hands of by the order of Tywin Lannister in the Mountain. That was a dope storyline, and how he fell to the Mountain. I thought it was emotional watching it. It was the greatest, I thought, 6-episode run I ever saw from a character. That was my favorite moment.
So Oberyn Martell.
Yeah, Oberyn Martell, the rise and fall of Oberyn Martell.
Okay.
2, the Battle of the Bastards, man. The lead up, the episode lead up with Ramsay and Jon, how they that back and forth, the actual war, the fall of Rickon. We didn't know at the time, but like them killing all the male Starks was basically rising Jon to the King of the North, because they basically took away all the rightful heirs. So that was great story writing, and just seeing Jon, man, that epic scene of like Jon with his sword and all the guys coming at him.
yeah.
That's one of the dopest scenes I've ever seen in TV history.
Yeah, that was great.
So Battle of the Bastards, and then my favorite, the third one would probably be Jon. The season finale, of season 6, when it's finally unveiled officially that Jon is the son of son of Lyanna.
Yeah.
Because the following season we found out that Rhaegar was his dad, but I mean, pretty much we pretty much pieced everything together at that
Right.
point, and how the montage goes from baby Jon in the tower
Opening
to Jon,
his eyes.
open his eyes to Jon staring at the
So
in the council room.
Such a good,
Man,
such
that's
a good scene.
those are my 3 favorite moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Brittany?
So mine are a little different. I'm a huge fan of Peter Dinklage because of this role, and I mean, Justin, I have to give you a shout out because you got me into Game of Thrones. That guy.
Thank you,
That guy
right
right
there.
there. Overall, I mean, despite this last season, I very much enjoy Game of Thrones. I will go and rewatch it. I'm currently rewatching it. I will watch the prequels. I'm gonna buy the box set. Just have that understood. I am a fan, so thank you for making me watch it. We need to get you back on Harry Potter. Anyway, that was the barter, right? Or the bargain. So my episodes, the first episode moment rather, is Tyrion's trial. That whole episode is just amazing to me, and basically the deliverance of Tyrion's message to the people.
Right.
After Shay testifies against him, the woman that he loves, and she betrayed him, and he turns around and just kind of snaps, and he says, I saved you. I saved all of you. I wish I was the monster that you all think that I am. I didn't kill Joffrey. I'm not going to die because of his death. That's not a crime I'm going to accept. And basically he turns to his father, who's the judge of this whole trial, and says, basically kind of tells him to F off and says, I demand a trial by combat. And just the stare between Tyrion and his father. I absolutely love Tywin Lannister. I think he literally is one of my favorite characters. The Hound.
Charles
and
Dance is so dope.
yeah, he is. But I love the exchange between the two. And just that whole performance was amazing.
But wouldn't it have been better if they hadn't shown that and just skip to the next part?
I'm going to ignore you. Move on to my next favorite
That
moment.
probably would have been better, right?
I'm going to ignore you.
Okay, sorry.
My next
go ahead.
favorite moment in Game of Thrones is it's the season. Oh gosh, I can't even remember anymore what it is. It's Winds of Winter. But when Arya uses her faceless training skills and ultimately kills Walder Frey. We learned from earlier seasons that lowborns will say "my lord" versus highborns who say "my lord," and we see this young woman who's serving Walder Frey the pie that she keeps saying about his, where are my sons? They're here, my lord. That should have been the tell right there, obviously, and Walder never picked up on that. But just how incredibly methodical that scene was, and just it was just an amazing scene, and Arya, in an odd way, kind of finds pleasure in killing Walder Frey. I love that scene absolutely. But my all-time favorite has to go to Daenerys Targaryen, R.I.P., when she goes to Astapor to acquire the Unsullied, and she is about to give away Drogon, baby Drogon, I will say, and turns around and starts speaking Valyrian, and it catches everyone by surprise that no one knew she could speak Valyrian. So she could understand everything that this master has been saying about her, calling her names and whatnot, and she basically shows who she really is. And I'm Daenerys Stormborn, and tells the Unsullied, kill everyone, kill all the masters, and she really showed her strength at that point. And it's literally, I can watch that scene over and over again. I'm never gonna get tired of it because it's just an amazing scene. So those are my
first time we hear Dracarys. Is that the first time?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
No. Actually, it's not. When they were in Karth, she said Dracarys to little Drogon, baby Drogon, when he's trying to fire up the little meat.
Yeah.
But this is like in a more
Yeah.
prominent, I'm here to mess you up kind of thing. But those are my 3 favorite moments.
George.
My top 3, let me think about this real quick. First one I really like is when we're introduced to Jaqen H'ghar and what he can do and how he saves Arya and Happai and Gendry and
When they're in Harrenhal.
yeah.
Yes.
So that scene was awesome. He just murks everybody. And then you think what is this? What are they going to introduce or what's going to happen? And obviously that led to nothing, but it was still great. It was still
I didn't hear much say that.
it was still great. So that's one of my favorite moments. Second is Hard Home. That episode to me was crazy.
It's masterful.
You see honestly everything in the north that happened with the wildlings and everything else. I think that was great. And but my second favorite was Hard Home and just that epic battle and everything that happened. Jon kills one of the generals or whatever.
The White Walker.
And that was just a great scene.
Mm-hmm.
And my third, last, and favorite was when the Night King got the dragon. And he tore down the wall. I know this is a little bit separate, but yeah. When he gets the dragon and he tears down the wall and he brings it down, I thought that was...
So you just like everything up north.
Yeah, honestly, I love I was really fascinated by the Night King and the White Walkers and all that story. That's what I cared about this show. I didn't care about everything else really. I love that part of this, and those were my 3 favorite there.
What about you, Justin?
So my 3, I'm going to do 3, 2, 1. So the third one is when Cersei blows up the Sept. And
That's your
Hilarious.
favorite?
Yeah,
The bell?
That's my favorite death. It's okay.
for unintentional comedy, when the building explodes and the bell falls and crushes this 3 or 4
Can
guys.
we show that clip?
That would be great if we
Can
could
we
show
put
that
it on
clip.
there?
It's not funny to them, obviously, because they perish.
We'll put it on
but
social media. We'll do
We'll
that.
do that. We'll do that.
it is kind of funny, in a sickening way, to watch that bell just crush these people because they're running away.
I'm not concerned about you.
Well, that's actually his favorite part.
I know it's
That's
your
fine.
favorite.
No, I like the music throughout the whole episode, and how it builds up to this big explosion, and it's like Cersei found a way. They thought they had her, and then they don't got her because she's gonna blow up everything, which is what she should have done in season 8 also.
Yeah.
My second favorite moment, and it's hard to say this is a favorite, but it's such a huge moment in the show we have to mention it. When Jon dies. When Jon dies at the end of season 5.
Yes.
I'm not a book reader. I can barely read, period. So shouldn't have said that. But no, seriously.
Now the whole world knows.
Yeah, so at the end of book 5, for y'all that don't know, spoiler alert, Jon dies in the book, right? That's how the 5th book ends in the book series. Well, I didn't know that was coming. So when it happened, I was stunned. When they killed him, when they turned against him and killed him, I was completely stunned. I could not believe it.
And that was actually before I started watching the show
Yeah.
because you texted me or messaged me somehow and said,
I'd been telling her for a long time, you have to watch Game of Thrones. You need to watch it. You need to watch it. And after Jon died, I was so upset and mad. I was like, you know what? You no longer need to watch this show.
I can no longer recommend the show.
Literally the whole off season between season 5 and 6, all I was rooting for, I hope Jon comes back as a White Walker and kills everyone. I wanted a reanimated Jon Snow just murdering everyone in the North. Thankfully, they brought him back in season 6. But so that's what that's such a huge moment in the show. Him dying, him coming back.
Yes.
But my top moment, I think this is arguably the most famous episode in the history of the show. Even someone as me, at this point, this is season 3, episode 9. I had not seen the show. I was working at a place that I don't want to talk about. But it was a news company, we'll put it that way. And I got to hear a lot about Game of Thrones from people that I didn't like also. And that's partially why I didn't want to watch the show. But this episode was so huge, and the talk about this show, and I remember on the radio, people were saying the Red Wedding. I was like, what's the Red Wedding? And I had no idea what that meant.
Which is actually not the title of it.
It's not the title of the episode, no. But the red was for blood, because there was a ton of blood and several key characters. Honestly, my favorite is Robb Stark. And again, in that episode, he dies. Mm-hmm. His wife-to-be dies. Their future son.
Well, his wife.
His wife, yeah. His mother dies trying to save him. It's such a
Walter
brutal...
Frey's wife dies.
Yeah, it's such a brutal scene to watch that. And even now, I've seen that episode probably 20 times. Like, that's my favorite episode to watch.
Mm-hmm. It's a great
And
episode.
every time I see that part, I can't believe they killed him, because I thought that all along him and Jon would take different paths, but would meet up in the end, and it would be like these two brothers who are avenging their father's death and their family. You know, I thought they were going to save their family. It seemed like Jon had the rough path; he's the bastard. Robb was the true heir, or the legitimized son of Ned and Catelyn. And it seemed like they were both going to meet at some point and save the world, or whatever the story was going to be. And so the Red Wedding.
Great.
Incredible episode. Like, I mean, seriously, if you're going to watch an episode of Game of Thrones, I think that's the one you have to watch.
Yeah.
Of course, you probably want to watch the ones before so you totally understand it.
Yeah.
But that's the one that I think put the show on the map. I really think
It
so.
did.
Because even after that, I was like, I better start watching that show. And in fact, after that season, I caught up. And then season 4, I jumped in when season 4 started. So
That's when I jumped in too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Red Wedding really started off for me. So I think that's the best moment in the history of the show.
I think my honorable mention for me, I know 3 moments
Yeah.
before, Roz. Roz for me was everything. And outside of Jon and Oberyn getting killed, Roz dying in season 3 really messed me up.
Frank, for those who may
don't
not
know,
be familiar,
who is Roz?
Who Roz is? Who is Roz?
Roz is a massage therapist in the first 3 seasons who worked for Baelish. Well, she was in the north, and she
Special massage.
Yeah, special massage therapist. She came to King's Landing. She became the head massage therapist for Baelish, and then nearly she's effective in Baelish and became the head massage therapist for Varys. You know, I miss her to this day. I follow her on Instagram very intently.
The actress, not
The
Roz.
actress, not the
actress.
Because
character.
Frank Roz is not real.
No,
That's a
she's
character.
not real.
He's
but
real. She's real in his
real
heart.
to me.
Yeah.
So.
Yes.
But again, wouldn't it be better if they hadn't shown those scenes and just like because like
Especially those massage
Yeah.
scenes.
I would have rioted because I am a fan of the massage art. So
Yeah.
I need to have those
like deep
scenes.
tissue, right? That's
Deep,
what we're talking. Yeah.
deep tissue. Yes,
Yeah.
full body.
Yeah, we're
deep
talking
tissue.
about that.
So,
I'm gonna need y'all to stop talking about this.
So yeah, before we
crazy.
completely go off the rails, we just want to say thanks to everybody for watching us review Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Please let us know what you think about the show. If you think there's a better way to end season 8, we're all ears on this. Please let us know.
Any theories people
Any
have, I want to
theories?
hear
Yeah.
too.
Hit us up, #WatchersBasement. It's been fun doing Game of Thrones. Hopefully we'll do the prequel whenever it comes out next year,
Yes.
if it comes out next year.
Or whatever.
In the meantime, we're going to be moving on. We're moving on to, there's some Marvel things we want to do. Spider-Man Far From Home's coming up. We were going to talk about that.
We all just saw John Wick
We
too,
saw
so
John
we're gonna do a
Wick.
review on that.
John Wick 3, we will probably talk about that at some point too. Lots of stuff coming up this summer
Yep.
and the fall. So we'll be, this is not the last Watchers of the Basement. This is our last Game of Thrones show, but this is not the last from the
Well,
Watchers.
for now.
For now.
And anyway, we appreciate everybody for watching. Brittany, you want to give a special shout out to
I
somebody?
do. So there's a couple people we want to give a special shout out to. Frank, I know you had one you wanted to give out.
Yes, Desmond. She's one of our biggest fans. She watches every show, so shout out to her. Thank you for your support.
Yes.
Thank you for watching our shows from beginning to end. It means a lot. So thank you, Des.
Yes.
And you're going to get a shirt.
Yes, you will.
One of
Yes.
these.
You're gonna get one of these shirts right here, designed by yours truly. And also, we want to give another special shout out to our brother in the north, in the real north, in Wisconsin,
Yep.
Drew.
So,
Sup, Drew? Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate all your tweets and your comments on our YouTube comments page thing, whatever you call it. But your shirt's on the way.
He's our number 1 fan.
He's our number one
Number
fan.
one, yeah.
Number one. And last but not least, we want to give a special shout out to our director, producer, and editor, Nathan Hill.
Thank you,
which
Nathan.
We could not have done this without you. Thank you so much for your time.
put a
and-
photo of you in the background right now.
like over here. But yeah, Nathan is amazing. And, you know, he's a big Game of Thrones fan as well. And sorry we did spoil the first episode of this season for you. Sorry. But anyway, so like Justin said, we're very, very appreciative of all those who are are fans of ours. And don't stop there. Show other people this podcast because we got more
Please.
content coming at you this summer. And that's it from me. So thanks again, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you for
And
watching.
remember, or
Well,
our watch has ended.
Our
for
watch
Game
has
of
already
Thrones,
ended, so I
go
don't
ahead
know.
and say it. Say the line. You do it better than I do.
And now, our watch has ended.
Shelter us!